This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Good evening, you're watching the Buck Stops here. I'm Barkha Dad. There's been a macabre twist to the 2G scam. It seems to have claimed its first life. Sadiq Batcha, a close business associate of the former telecom minister A. Raja, who was also being questioned by the CBI, has taken his own life, or at least those of the preliminary reports coming out of Tamil Nadu. The government there has asked for a CBI inquiry. Opposition leader Jayalalitha has spoken about Sadiq Batcha's death being either a murder or a forced suicide. Why did Sadiq Batcha die? What did he know? And did he know too much? That will be our special focus on the program tonight. But let's get you started with the headlines.
A dramatic and violent twist to the 2G scam. Sadiq Batcha, a close business associate, killed himself in mysterious circumstances.
He would have been an important witness, not so much in terms of documentation, but he would have been important in giving more details about the money flows and who are the big people who got it, and he came on the witness box.
Jayalalitha blames the DMK for Batcha's death, says it was either murder or forced suicide. The CBI tells the court Raja overwrote on the opinion given to him by India's Attorney General Ghulam Vahanvati. And CIA contractor Raymond Davis walks free after reports say he has paid 200 million rupees as compensation to the families of those he shot. What's the real story?
And it's a packed 60 minutes tonight on the Buck Stops here. Our first debate tonight, the mysterious death of Sadiq Batcha, a close business associate of former telecom minister A. Raja. What did he know? Did he die because he knew too much? Why did he suddenly take his own life? And what impact will this have on the 2G scam investigations? Also coming up later in the program, connected to the 2G scam, the CBI says that A. Raja actually overwrote an opinion given to him by India's Attorney General Ghulam Vahanvati. Does this take Ghulam Vahanvati away from the center of the 2G storm? He'll be our newsmaker tonight. And then, from the other side of the border in Pakistan, CIA contractor Raymond Davis walks free. It's widely reported that he paid blood money running into millions of dollars to the relatives of those he shot dead. Will this strengthen the ISI? What's actually the contours of the deal struck between the ISI and the CIA? We'll have that later in the program. And like always, you can take part in our debate online. Our webpage, ndtv.com/buckstops here, is now open for your comments. Also, of course, you can tweet us. Our producers will choose the best tweets to run through the course of the debate. And let's get started with our top story this evening. It's been a dramatic twist to the 2G scam investigations. Suddenly this morning came the news of Sadiq Batcha's death. If you haven't heard of him, well, he was a close business associate of the former telecom minister A. Raja and had also been both raided and questioned by the CBI. A suicide note left behind by Mr. Sadiq Batcha said that he had not been able to deal with the embarrassment caused to him by the scrutiny brought onto him and his family by the 2G scam investigations. He also described A. Raja as a good man. However, opposition leader in Tamil Nadu, the AIA-DMK chief Jayalalitha, has said that the DMK is behind Mr. Batcha's mysterious death, saying it's either a murder or a forced suicide.
Sadiq Batcha, a key business associate of former telecom minister A. Raja, the man investigative agencies were hoping would tell all. On Wednesday afternoon, Batcha was found dead at his South Chennai residence. His wife Banu told the police she and her driver found him hanging in the bedroom around 1 p.m. Sources close to the family say Batcha went for a bath at around 10 o'clock, and when he didn't come out for hours, they panicked and broke open the door. By the time he was taken to hospital, the 47-year-old was dead.
In her complaint, Sadiq Batcha's wife Banu says her husband could not cope with the embarrassment over the 2G spectrum scam. Now police are waiting for the crucial post-mortem report to find out if there was any foul play.
But anything to suspect at all, sir? Is it?
No, see, I cannot speculate unless the postmortem is done and unless we get the complaint.
Sources say Batcha was under immense pressure to turn approver in the case, as the CBI believed he knew of Raja's money transactions. Sources also say Batcha was scheduled to take a flight to Delhi at 2:10 in the afternoon on Wednesday.
He is not someone who can commit suicide in the ordinary course, which many depressed people are prone to do. He was part of the Hawala operations in the coast of Tamil Nadu called Kirakarai. He had vast contacts in Dubai, Malaysia and so on. He played a very vital role in this whole gigantic scam of 2G. Now, there will be a lot of people who would be worried about his cracking up, as they are worried about Raja cracking up.
Batcha hailed from Raja's home turf in Perambalur. He was the managing director of Greenhouse Promoters, a real estate company owned by A. Raja and his family. Raja's wife was in fact the legal advisor of the company and his brother a primary investor. Greenhouse was floated with 1 crore rupees in 2007, but in just 3 years it grew into a 600 crore rupee venture. The rise in the company's fortunes coincided with Raja's tenure as telecom minister. Raja became the UPA telecom minister in 2007. The CBI was probing if Greenhouse was floated to divert 2G scam money. It raided Batcha's home and offices in December, and he was last interrogated by the CBI on the 24th of February. Although the CBI hasn't been able to find any evidence linking Batcha to the 2G scam, the opposition is angry that another hurdle has arisen in prosecuting A. Raja.
Every day we hear new news, disturbing news, new angle, new questions which raise further suspicion. That's what this whole scam has been reduced to. But the fact that he has committed suicide, a key component of the entire scandal, is a very disturbing question.
Sources say Sadiq Batcha was expected to turn approver in the 2G case, and he was under extreme pressure from various quarters to not take that route. With less than a month to go before elections in the state, the ruling DMK, sources say, is keen to come clean in this case and hand over the case to the CBI. With Salim and Pratiksha in Chennai, Sanjay Pinto, NDTV.
And now to our debate this evening. Why did Sadiq Batcha die? Was he the man who knew too much? If so, what did he know? And the more important question, what impact will this have on the 2G scam investigations? I want to start with Subramanian Swamy, who's been easily the most outspoken voice, in a sense, on this whole case. What does this mean?
Well, as far as the investigation is concerned, it's nobody can say it's not a setback. But I think the stage of the investigation, the materials that have come on board, makes me feel that whatever is lost by Raja going away, Sadiq Batcha going away, can be compensated by alternative evidences.
Why was he targeted? In your view, if he was targeted, I should qualify this because his suicide note says that the media calls him great embarrassment.
What is the date of the suicide note? 15th March. He dies on, today is the 17th. Now, you don't write suicide notes 2 days in advance. I have not heard.
Today is the 16th.
Today is the 16th, yes.
Yeah. And the suicide note you say has the 15th March date.
And he goes to the bathroom at 9:30, and they don't discover till 1 o'clock. And then they rush off to Apollo Hospital. So there are enough rules. Third is I have, through my friends in Chennai, I have located some of his close friends who used to move around with, because he was living in Chennai. And they say that he was in good spirits. And he was in fact looking forward to coming to Delhi.
Some reports say that he was scheduled to catch a 2:30 p.m. flight today.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you been able to independently corroborate that?
No, I have not inquired into that, but I know that he was looking forward to coming to Delhi. And
are you suggesting that the suicide note is a fake note? I mean, easily handwriting experts and so on can corroborate that.
Of course, there's no question. I'm only saying that his going away is convenient for some people. So we have to start with that premise. It could be just a simple suicide. It's not, as pointed out by somebody in the Chara Gotala in Bihar. 5 suicides took place. Now, but he's not the type who would be under pressure, because he was a man of the street. He came up the hard way. He was very street smart. He had tremendous connections with the Hawala area of Tamil Nadu, which is called Kirakarai on the coastal area. He used to go frequently to Dubai. He had connections in Malaysia. He was a great money launderer. And I don't think such people can easily be cracked.
Before I go to Dushyant Dave, if I can ask you, Jayalalitha makes a statement today pretty much blaming the DMK for being behind this. She calls it their internal system of justice. And you smile because, or laugh because?
Well, because that's Jayalalitha's standard formula. I think it's I won't put it past the DMK to engage in violence and murder. They have done that. But in this particular case, I have seen nothing that would suggest that they are directly involved.
Yet you don't believe that this is just what it seems to be on the surface, a suicide?
Yeah, I don't think it's, I can conclude that. I find it's very, I think I would require a lot of agencies to tell me that it's not so. My private inquiries suggest that there's something rotten there.
Something rotten there. Dushyant Dave, the larger question is, what signals is it sending out on a day when the Supreme Court has actually spoken of setting up a special court to look into the 2G scam, also spoken about appointing a special public prosecutor. What's the messaging? If this is a suicide, let's take it at face value. Even if it's just a suicide and nothing more, what's the messaging?
See, I feel this way, that it's the biggest scandal today in the history of modern India. There is no doubt that this scandal is something which really requires a very, very widespread, a very thorough and a very foolproof investigation by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, if CBI had taken this man into protective custody, because we don't have the witness protection program, and he should have been taken in protective custody for the simple reason that everybody who is connected with Mr. Raja, and more so because if he is business associate with 600 crores of rupees of worth of company, he should have been picked up first. I don't know what CBI really is doing, because arresting Mr. Raja without arresting all the other key players is really a very sham investigation, and I am really surprised that the Supreme Court is not coming down hard on the CBI.
What would you have had the CBI? What would you have had the CBI do instead? It's not clear. We should say whether Sadiq Batcha was being treated as a suspect or as a witness. We don't have enough details to know his role in this.
It's not necessary. Barkha, I accept that the fact that he was a close associate is good enough, because you have to trace the money trail of Mr. Raja, and that is the best way to nail him down. Everyone who is connected with, you know, the 2G scam, whether it is Neera Radia or whether it is the key players who have benefited out of Mr. Raja's largesse, are all not picked up as yet. I don't know what kind of investigation is this. I mean, there is no point picking up Mr. Raja. And this man, if he was taken into protective custody, whether it is suicide or it's a murder as somebody alleges, which I don't know, this could have been prevented. And if he was available for examination by a competent court, then at least it would have thrown a very serious light into the whole case.
Let me just take this briefly.
I personally feel it's a great failure. It's a great failure. And my feeling is that it's a very sad thing, because right in the eye of the Supreme Court, with a close monitoring, if the central investigating agency like CBI is unable to really follow the leads in the right direction, I don't know where we will end.
Let me just put a contrarian perspective, Dr. Swamy, if I can. Is it realistic to say that everybody the CBI is questioning, anybody who is an associate of Raja, should be taken into protective custody? Is that realistic? And B, we should be responsible and say, we don't know if this man was officially a suspect. Was he a witness? Was he nothing at all? Yes, he was raided. Yes, he was being accused of being a frontman for Raja's money. But could he have been taken into protective custody?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that when the investigating agencies take somebody into custody, and then they have to justify keeping him. And that means there's a habeas corpus law in our country. That means you will have to have a case so that the guy doesn't get let off. Like you had Hassan Ali come out, whatever the reasons for his coming out. But the fact is that, you know, the court is not satisfied that you have got enough, they let him off. And that would be a big setback. CBI made it very clear today in the Supreme Court when we were, while our petitions came up, that they are not going to file just one charge sheet. They're going to file charge sheets after charge sheets. As they are, after all, they have a manpower constraint. I must tell you, there's a tremendous manpower constraint. So they are going it by stage by stage.
So you think they're going pretty much the right track?
I think overall I'm satisfied. There are some things which they have not done, but I'm sure that I'll make them do it sometime later.
That sounds ominous. Let me take this to Vijay Agarwal. Vijay Agarwal, you represent Shahid Balwa. You've been representing him in court. Now, the suicide note left by Mr. Batcha, such as it is, talks about the media coverage of the 2G scam actually driving him to a point of embarrassment. On the other side, you have Dushyant Dave basically arguing that he should have been taken into protective custody. There are some reports, unconfirmed, that have also surfaced about common links between your client and Sadiq Batcha. Your comments?
See, I would call it very contradictory. At one side, we call him a suspect, and one side we are saying that he could have been taken into a protective custody. Rather, this itself shows that CBI was just pressurizing a person to become a witness, and the person buckled down under pressure and went to the extent of committing the suicide. So he required counseling, or is this the way? If he was a witness at all, and as Mr. Swamy is saying that the investigation will take ahead, so you pressurize a person into becoming a witness? You counsel a person to become a witness. So this itself shows that there is a human right violation. It is very easy to say
what
that
is your basis to say that he was pressured? What is your basis? Is that what Shahid Balwa is being pressured to do? Is he being pressured to turn a witness or an approver, your client? Do you base it on that?
See, Supreme Court in Nandini Satpathy said that the pressure is not just third-degree torture. It is this atmospheric pressure, questioning after questioning, CBI salutes surrounding a particular person, and then of course the social stigma. I don't blame media, it is a social stigma, so media has to report. So a social stigma of a person, what is a person having? The liberty, CBI picks you up, takes away your liberty, you have your reputation, then the media tarnishes your reputation. So what the man would do? But I heard some reports that the wife of Sadiq Batcha is claiming and is making some complaint. As far as I understand criminal law, there is no case. Somebody might try a stunt of lodging a FIR under 306 IPC.
Okay.
But my personal belief is that if in case a person is very emotional and buckles under pressure, then no one else is to be blamed.
Okay, but you are suggesting that the very visible spectacle of CBI investigations in this is something that caused Sadiq Batcha possible emotional trauma. Dushyant Dave, if I can take this back to you, there have been some other senior lawyers who have raised the same point about due process and spoken about how people are being branded guilty before we know the extent of their involvement. And if you take this at face value, that is what the suicide note implies. Do you think there's any danger of that this case is being played out in the media, that this is a media trial? That is what Mr. Batcha's note actually says. It blames the media.
Look, let us understand one thing. Everybody who is connected with 2G scam would like to blame everybody else, including the media, maybe the Supreme Court, maybe the psychological pressures and whatnot. The fact of the matter is that it is one of the biggest scandals in the history of the country. Fact of the matter is that this country needs to protect its own money, which is badly needed for hundreds of millions of people who are living below poverty line. Now, let us analyze. It's not that Mr. Batcha was a great businessman or who came from some great family, you know, who had this huge money. His association with Mr. Raja was well known. He suddenly from 1 crore rises up to 600 crore company. I mean, it's not something which is common.
Okay.
Now, if this is the position, the first thing CBI has to do, and that's the duty, is to strike at these people. I mean, you can't have sympathy for them. You can't allow them to write these kind of, you know, suicide notes to blame somebody else. What does he mean by embarrassment? Certainly he should be embarrassed, because I mean, he was party to all this scam.
Okay.
I am not able to understand.
I mean, we don't know.
Mr. Swamy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dushyant, complete your point.
No,
yeah.
there is nothing. There is nothing to know, Barkha. The fact is that, look, I don't have political friends who have allowed me to make this kind of money. I have been a lawyer for 32 years. But Mr. Batcha got this kind of money. It is absolutely necessary that the burden then shifts on him to explain where does he get the money from.
Okay.
Did he file income tax returns? Does he have known sources of income?
Can I
if
take
he doesn't have, 2 + 2 is that it was Raja's money.
Dr. Swamy.
Well, you see, the question is, one of the biggest errors the CBI would make in this case would be to hit at several fronts at the same time. I think the main thing is to focus on the fact that a huge scandal has taken place, and for that we have to go step by step. First of all, the person who was centrally responsible was Raja.
He's in jail.
He's in jail. Now the licenses have to be cancelled, and that will generate a certain amount of problems for those who paid bribes. Now their letter regulatories have gone to various countries, so material is coming. I think it's if one were to say the CBI should have caught this, caught that, and so on, I think the CBI would have had too much indigestion in the process.
Can I get a quick last word from you as we wrap? You said it was not convenient for some people that Sadiq Batcha should go on living.
Absolutely.
Why not? Because one assumes that his trail only led to Raja, who's already in jail.
No, but he was the bagman, and he was the one who was in contact with the Hawala people in Kirakare.
And yet Mr. Swamy says he shouldn't have been picked up. I don't understand Mr. Swamy at all.
Well, you don't because because you're a lawyer for a client. I am not. I'm a petitioner.
I'm not a lawyer for any client.
Well, you are a lawyer for. I am saying you're arguing like a lawyer for a client. I am saying that at this stage, the whole thing should not be blurred by putting everybody on the same plate. I know a lot of other people who are involved. I know a lot of people who have got the money. I am not in advocating that all of them should be picked up at the same time.
Dushyant, is it realistic to say that anybody who knew Raja should actually be in protective custody or some kind of custody at this point?
I cannot suggest that. Absolutely right. But those who were business associates and those on whom prima facie the financial involvements are established. I mean, if you are a friend of Raja and if you are partners with Raja's family, and you have 600 crore companies suddenly, coming up in a less than 5 years' time, then prima facie you are a suspect. You have to therefore run after them.
Then he'll have to pick up his wife.
Raja's wife. Mr. Swamy, just a minute.
Okay, quickly.
Mr. Swamy, just a minute. You have to go after people who bribed. Not only those who took the bribes, Mr. Raja was doing for himself. And you have to really see where this money went. Unless
that's fair, but till we know, can we pick up people? The question simply is, till we have empirical proof, how can we pick up people?
Look, every day CBI picks up all kinds of small offenders in the country, and nobody raises a hue and cry. I am surprised that CBI in a scam involving 2 lakh crore is showing so much of softness. I mean, it really is sad. Because after all, CBI owes its existence to people of India. It's the constitution they are wedded to.
I've got to end.
And I don't think they...
Mr. Dave is adjudging people guilty without trial. I am really surprised that a senior advocate wants to adjudge people guilty without trial. He should realize that there is a presumption of innocence till a person is proven guilty.
Okay,
so anybody has been dealing with...
You can't bring anybody to trial and find him guilty. They are rich and powerful, will get away. You know it and I know it.
May I interject here?
The only way you can catch them is to put pressure.
You feel that everyone is not rich and powerful.
May I interject here?
May I interject here? CBI should first arrest people, then ask their name, and then should have that what is the case against them.
The cynical perception is that the big fish will actually get away while Sadiq Batcha, at face value, took his own life. Very quick last word. Where is this headed given what's happened?
It is headed right to the top, because the people who got the blind share are at the top. and there's no escape. This because the whole country has got involved in this.
How does this impact the investigation?
It impacts, there's no doubt. If he had turned approver, for example, would have been a
and
great
those are reports that he may have turned approver.
Yes, there were reports that he was looking forward to coming to Delhi.
But
the fact of the matter is,
it is very clear that he would have
we don't know
to become an approver.
Okay, last word, very quick last word.
So I would say that there are alternative evidences to cover up for the loss. But such losses should not take place in the future.
More questions than answers, but hopefully some that will be answered over time. Subramanian Swamy, Dushyant Dave and Vijay Agarwal, thank you so much for joining us on the Buck Stops here this evening. We're turning now to another of our top stories. It's also connected to the 2G scam. The CBI, in one of its reports, has now said that the former Telecom Minister A. Raja overwrote on an opinion given to him by then Solicitor General and present Attorney General Ghulam Vanvati.
Was the advice of Ghulam Vanvati, presently India's Attorney General, overwritten by the former Telecom Minister A. Raja? According to the CBI, who questioned Vanvati a week ago, yes it was. In a startling twist to the investigations, it has now emerged that a press release issued by the Ministry of Telecom on the 7th of January 2008 that claimed to have the backing of Vanvati, who was then the Solicitor General, was amended and tampered with without his knowledge. NDTV has accessed the original as well as the amended press release, and this is what emerges. Raja, who stands accused of advancing the cut-off date for applicants to favor select telecom companies, dropped the very paragraph that related to these rules. So the lines that said, if more than one applicant complies with the LOI conditions on the same date, the inter se seniority would be decided by the date of application, vanished from the press release made public. The CBI also says that the final draft, written in Raja's own handwriting, said, press release approved as amended. Vanvati says he never saw this amended press release.
I was going through it and I was quite taken aback because it's been 3 years ago. And when I saw the press release, my recollection was that that was not what I had seen. But since it was a photocopy and then there were certain notings made, I couldn't really say anything. Thereafter, it seems that the CBI had a forensic expert look into the notings and the alterations, and they independently confirmed through the latest forensic technology that these were subsequently put. And therefore they came to me to show me the original file. I said, well, if this is how it is.
Vanvati found himself in the center of the 2G storm when petitioner and politician Subramanian Swamy demanded that he recuse himself from the case because he had advised the Telecom Ministry and supported Raja's decisions. But the CBI now says Ghulam Vanvati's evidence will form the backbone of their charge sheet against Raja. Fast-tracking the case, the Supreme Court has also asked for a special public prosecutor to handle the hearings.
Apart from filing the main charge sheet, CBI will also be filing several supplementary charge sheets against the beneficiaries in the 2G scam at a later stage. A special court to be set up exclusively for the 2G trial will also conduct a speedy trial in this case. In New Delhi, with Sunetra Chaudhary, this is Arunachalam Vaidyanathan for NDTV.
And earlier in the day, I spoke with Attorney General Ghulam Vanvati. He's our newsmaker tonight. Now, Mr. Vanvati, first, I think a lot of people would want to know what the questioning by the CBI officials who met with you at your residence, what sort of areas did that questioning look at?
Yes, let me rewind a bit. About 3 weeks ago, in the cancellation of licenses matter, the rejoinder was filed in which certain documents, but including photocopies of the files, were placed on record. And some of these contain notings of the 7th of January 2008, including a 4-line noting which I had made with regard to whether there was any court order restraining them from proceeding. And then I recollected that they had shown me some press release which I had said was had to be transparent and appeared to be transparent. Now, unfortunately, in the file, there was a press release in which there were certain exclusions, And there were certain notings which were made which would give the impression that I had approved the amended press release. I was taken aback because I had seen this for the first time. And a photocopy didn't make any, looked a little odd, but I couldn't say anything about it. Thereafter, the CBI conducted an independent forensic inquiry into these overwritings, and they came to the conclusion, using the latest electron microscopes, that this was inserted subsequently in another ink and in 2 places. So they came to me with the file, which I saw for the first time, and they asked me to see that, and I was quite taken aback to see the nature of the overwriting which had taken place.
But Mr. Vanvati, are you then saying that till 3 weeks ago you had absolutely no idea that A. Raja had issued a press release that he claimed had been endorsed by you, but that this press release had been amended?
No. This overwriting I saw for the first time when the CBI came to my house about 10 days ago, after obtaining the forensic report, and they showed it to me. Now let me just clarify this, Barka. Today the CBI filed a status report before Justice Singhvi and Justice Ganguly, in which the CBI said that forensic evidence and electron microscopes established that there had been overwriting. So I knew about the overwriting about 10 days ago.
All right. Now, actually, NDTV has accessed both of these press notes, the original draft and the one that A. Raja subsequently amended by actually deleting a crucial paragraph that related to the cut-off dates. Remember, Raja actually advanced the dates allegedly to favor particular telecom companies. But the question that would arise and that your critics will raise, Mr. Vanvati, is that when this press release was issued with changes, why did you not notice it then? Why did you not raise suspicions then? Why did you not react to it at that point?
I had never seen the press release at the time of issue. The press release issued by the ministry, it doesn't come to me. I never saw the press release as issued by them, Barkha. I didn't even have a copy. They came to me on the 7th of January 2008, which was a Monday, and you know Mondays are very difficult days, and I don't keep copies of these things. We don't. So I had never seen the press release as issued, and I never had a copy of the press release shown to me. But it was clear to me that what was shown to me was very different from what is now appearing in the file.
There are those, Mr. Vanvati, like Subramanian Swamy, who wrote to the Prime Minister asking that you recuse yourself from the case because you had advised the Telecom Ministry. Do you believe that with the surfacing of the fact that Raja actually overwrote your opinion and tampered with that particular press release, this issue has been settled once and for all?
Let me, for instance, no, this is only one aspect of the matter, Barkha. Another allegation which has been making the rounds against me for a long time is that the then Law Minister said that there should be a group of ministers, and then I gave an opinion to Mr. Raja directly, saying that no, you don't have to go to a group of ministers. Now here again I was completely in the dark because I had no papers. When this rejoinder came out, you'll be amazed to know that on the 26th of October 2007, the Department of Telecom wrote to the Ministry of Law saying, here is a statement of case, take an opinion of the then Attorney General or the Solicitor General, on which Mr. Vishwanathan wrote on the 1st of November, these queries are too broad, can't refer to law officers. Mr. Bharadwaj wrote on the 1st of November, I agree, this must be referred to the group of ministers, and then we can consider sending it to the Attorney General. On this, there is a noting by the person concerned saying, discuss please, and on the 2nd of November, he wrote directly to the Prime Minister saying that I do not agree with the Ministry of Law, their views are out of context. I didn't come into the picture at all.
You're actually saying that you were totally kept out of the loop when the Law Ministry discussed this particular issue of setting up a group of ministers to look at spectrum allocation and pricing.
I had nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, you know, statements are being made. I had no papers with me. How do I prove a negative?
It's only when I saw the papers for the first time I realized that I had never come into the picture with regard to the group of ministers. And I am not as foolish as people think that I would overrule the law minister and say, no, don't go by the advice of the law minister. This is absolutely an absurd thing which has been floating around, and it has hurt me considerably.
Have you raised all of this with the law ministry?
The present law minister knows exactly what happened. The present telecom minister knows what happened. When the statement was made in a letter written to the Prime Minister, I have not seen that letter, but I clarified my position to the present telecom minister and annexed the photocopies of the relevant documents.
Well, it's been a startling twist today to discover that A. Raja actually tampered with the press release, claiming it had your backing. Perhaps this will clear some of the air. Thank you so much, Ghulam Vanwati, for being our newsmaker tonight.